If loyalty outranks autonomy, your sensors become your brain. That's the flaw this strike exposed. Russia centralized, protected, and believed its bunker was untouchable. Ukraine waited for the meeting and then flooded the sky with 200 signals. Watch how 4 real drones slipped through S-400 gaps, while 150 ghosts pulled missiles in every direction, and why a delayed internal blast shut down command, targeting, and data flow for 2 days. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. They trusted reinforced roofs, overpressure doors, and a web of launchers on standby. The flaw showed up on the calendar. In a system where loyalty beats initiative, you get a bunker that acts like a single brain. Approvals climb stairs, not radios. Senior officers cluster to sync orders, confirm fires, and clear changes to the daily plan. The shield looks strong from the outside, but the timing of people inside sets the real boundary of protection. Each week, the choreography repeats. Secure convoys arrive on a set rhythm. Devices stack in lockers. Gate lists freeze an hour before start. Staff rotate through inner rings, while S-400 coverage updates fill screens. Pantsir crews brief for a surge window because air defense managers expect probe attempts whenever the boss sits down. That certainty has a price. Decision cycles slow as more signatures are needed and leaders stay in the room long after the maps stop changing. On the line, the delay hits first. Battery commanders push fire requests through a ladder of sign-offs. A target moves. The request moves slower. A strike window closes while a major waits on a colonel, who waits on a general, who is busy inside the weekly sync. Radios stay hot, but the answer is late, and the ripple reaches platoons that already burned hours of fuel chasing a task that lost meaning. Reformers tried to break this pattern after 2008. The plan was simple on paper. Fewer layers, more professionals, better training, and a leaner officer corps. The reality stayed sticky. Corruption warped incentives. A thin, non-commissioned officer cadre left junior leaders without the authority to act when the net went quiet. Initiative never became habit, so requests kept climbing and timing kept slipping. Sanctions cut deeper than budget. Sensor fusion needs parts and clean software pipelines. Industrial bottlenecks mean rotating outages on radars that should overlap. A spare board comes late, a calibration drift, and a sector runs minutes behind reality. The S-400 can reach far, but coverage with gaps becomes a promise with disclaimers. Predictability and lag turned into the real target, not the walls. The clock, concrete resisted explosives. It did nothing against a schedule that parked decision-makers in the same place, on the same day, under the same layers of static procedure. The strongest piece was steel. The weakest piece was clockwork. If time and clustering form the crack, the strike has to bend what the sensors think they see before it even touches the doors. The window opened when the calendar said it would. To make 200 threats out of 50 airframes, you start by filling the air defense picture with noise. A phantom swarm throws 150 AI-built radar echoes into the network, then hides the real blades inside that storm. Operators see numbers spike, sectors light up, and duty officers lean on procedure. Every battery starts splitting attention. Missiles go out in different directions, and the wall gets thin where it matters. The decoys stay loud. They ride high on radar gain, wobble just enough to look real, and pull search beams like moths to a lamp. The Lutai-style attack drones do the opposite. They drop into the S-400's ground clutter knots, slip along the noise floor, and trade speed for stealth. Terrain and buildings soak the return. Heat from rooftops blurs the thermal edge. When a radar turns to chase a fresh phantom, the real tracks pivot into its blind cone and slide past. Electronic warfare turns confusion into waste. Flood the bands, shift frequencies, and the fire control picture loses fidelity. Track quality downgrades. Correlation breaks. Operators see ghosts merging and splitting. Shot doctrine says engage what threatens first, so batteries fire early and often. A Pantsir crew runs through canisters on echoes that never resolve, then watches 4 small signatures go quiet, dip below the lobe, and vanish into dead ground. Reload drills start. The window widens. Autonomy carries the rest. Each drone holds a target model, a terrain-following route, and a fallback if comms die. Gate recognition marks the final turn. Fence line, service road, access door geometry, vent spacing, LiDAR pings confirm the face of the structure. The approach stack spaces arrivals to keep defenses guessing, but the guidance logic keeps the formation coherent without radio calls. Human hands pressed launch, onboard brains finish the job. Warheads don't slam and flash. They bite first, then wait. A short delay traps the blast in concrete halls, folds corridors inward, and pops conduit trays like tin. Power goes first. Fiber links shear. Nodes die in sequence, not in a single bang, so redundancy fails before anyone understands why. Outside, roofs stay mostly intact. Inside, the map room quits, and the message queue freezes with half-written tasks. When the head stops talking, line units notice in minutes, not hours. Firing batteries stall. Counter-battery radars hold fire. The front feels the silence. What happens when the map room goes dark but the guns are still loaded? The first minutes look like a power cut that refuses to clear. Main feeds drop. The UPS kicks in, then trips. Emergency lighting flickers, then dies as corridor doors jam on warped frames. Casualty teams stumble through dust. Staff officers don't answer. Local servers try a restart cycle and freeze on corrupted boot files. The phones that should bypass the core switch have no tone. A duty captain sees green indicators go black in sequence and realizes the pattern means the center, not the edge, took the hit. On the line, the silence spreads faster than the smoke clears. Artillery units request new grids and get nothing back. Drones that usually hunt counter-battery emitters wait for tasking priorities and circle until fuel demands a return. Counter-battery radars hold emit as doctrine requires, but no one deconflicts fire's lanes, so crews hesitate. A reconnaissance platoon calls in movement across a canal and hears only acknowledgments from peers, not orders. Habit fills the gap, but habit doesn't assign massed fires or move reserves. Regional data networks try to reroute. Traffic jumps to secondary nodes, saturates them, and drops packets in bursts. Chat rooms that coordinate aviation and artillery lag by minutes. Field commanders start writing their own task lists and pass them on secure messengers that were never meant to carry full operations. Without delegated authority baked in, each local initiative risks crossing someone else's plan. So many choose caution. The centralized system can't reconstitute fast because it depends on approvals from the very desks that no longer exist. A Ukrainian brigade tests the scene. Scouts find guns that shoot alone, without a fire's web. The push stays measured, probing for traps, then widens when counter-strikes fizzle. They face bursts of resistance and isolated armor, but no coherent plan ties it together. ISR gaps grow. Recon drones loiter over blind spots as jammers switch off to save power. Logistics units receive conflicting route changes and pile onto the same roads. Medevac priorities stall without a single triage net. Reinforcements sit at staging points, waiting on a go order that never arrives. Decoys still roam, feeding false returns to anyone counting kills. Battle damage assessment stays muddy, and a counter-strike burns time chasing the wrong tracks. That's the payoff. A loyalty-first command turned a bunker into one failure point, and timing the meeting created a 2-day silence. The lesson isn't the drone count, it's the system that let 4 get close. Modern advantage comes from breaking the brain, not the armor. Autonomy, deception, and timing beat concrete because they erase control faster than steel can absorb shock. You saw how clockwork created the opening, decoys stretched defenses thin, and delayed blasts severed the nerve. If you want more deep dives into how command design wins or loses wars, subscribe and tell us which system we should dissect next. Ground-based air defense networks, field artillery tasking, satellite relay chains. Your turn. Where should the next Phantom appear for the biggest strategic shock? Over a rail hub, a theater-level air defense node, or the fiber trunks behind a coastal logistics port?